What's going on, muscle man? What's up, Bubba? Trying to get this thing to focus. Focus. What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. What's up, Mo? How's it going? Hanging out here. Just hanging out, having a good time. It's quiet for a minute, so figured I'd do a live stream. It'd probably only last a couple minutes. That's what we always say. What's up, Andy? I turned the gyre pumps off before I started this live stream because I planned on looking at something in the tank, and then I forgot to turn them back on, and now I can't turn them back on because I'm live streaming on my phone. So I just have to do for now. So it is what it is. No flow in the tank except for the return pump. I don't know why this thing won't focus. Just bought this system a month ago. Congratulations. I really like the Redsea Reefer tanks. It's treated me well so far, except for the couple scratches that are on the glass, but that's my fault and the kids. So I don't understand why this is having such a difficult time focusing. So what's going on, everybody? What's up, Retro? Thank you very much. Can't show you the full because I took the cabinet light out to charge it, but there's actually a rock piece in the sump that hasn't been in there very long, so it's going to go in the display at some point. Wish you'd got the 350. Yeah, we always wish, I believe. I'm happy with this size. Got the Max E260. Are those the ones with the all-in-one chamber in the back that you can add a sump to? Ever consider the Redsea cover? I made a cover. Bubba, I missed your comment, so I'm sorry, man. I actually made a screen cover, or screen top for this for, I don't know, 15 bucks, something like that. The Redsea covers are nice, but I just have no reason to swap it out at the moment. I'm satisfied with the Radions. I think that aesthetically, it definitely changes the way that the tank looks. No doubt about that. There's absolutely no doubt about that. It's much different, and you still get some shimmer. There's no doubt about that, but I can see the color separation in the light. So now I know what everybody's talking about as far as Radions and diffusers or whatever, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So you'll have to excuse me because I'm using the YouTube app, and comments whenever they pop up, I don't know if I know how to pull them back up. But the screen top that I made is just some like framing stuff off of Amazon with some netting. And I just cut it to fit, and then I just kind of glued some ends on it to sit flush on the tank. Yeah, the Radions are nice. I don't have any regrets getting them. That's me personally, but again, I'm a tinkerer, and I don't know why this thing won't lose its focus. It must not like. I'm a tinkerer, and that's not really a good thing. So, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, the rumor is if you add the diffusers, you lose power. Now, I'm running the lights at this point about 10 inches off the water and at 40% intensity. So after the video that I put up this morning, I really need to look at the specific schedule that I'm running because apparently it's pretty heavy on red and green. There was a comment a second ago about looking to get a Reefer 250. Should I go ahead and get the 350? I mean, if you can get it, then go ahead and get it. I mean, you don't want to spend that amount of money and then regret not getting that extra foot. What's up, Carlos? But for me, I like the 3-foot tank. I didn't want to take up a whole lot of room here, and it just saves on everything. Oh, happy birthday, Pelfrey. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. You know, with a 4-foot tank, I would need at least 3 lights. I might need another one at some point on this tank, but I don't right now. But with a 4-foot tank, you definitely will spend more money on lighting, that's for sure. I mean, you can get away with the gyre pumps that I have. So, how did you get your conductivity probe calibrated on your Apex? I don't have a salinity or the ORP probe. Actually, I have the temperature probe and a pH probe. My pH probe has read like 2.6 for like 3 months now, and I'm just too lazy to calibrate it because I really don't care about the pH that much. I know that this tank stays at like 8.1, something like that, maybe high 7. So, you know, it's something that I've not put a lot of thought into. I thought about getting a new pH probe last weekend with all the sales going on, but I opted to save my $60 and not get one just because at this point it just doesn't really matter to me. This thing is kind of aggravating me with the losing the focus. Again, if a comment comes up and I don't respond to it, I'm sorry. They come up and then they disappear, and sometimes I ramble on about different things, so wish I could see them, but I can't. Somebody just, is that a Dave, thank you very much. Get some GSP on me, that's hilarious. Appreciate the super chat, man. Much, much appreciated. Green Star polyps. I'd actually looked at them. When I struggled with this tank, I'm like, I know that I can grow Green Star polyps, and I've actually never had Green Star polyps. So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna do a Green Star polyp tank only. And then I said, no, it's a bad idea. But I did get this off here. There's some Euphyllia in the background, which we're not probably gonna be able to see. So I just got those last week. The camera and the lighting just doesn't do them justice. Plus, you can see this brown stuff that I got going on the sand bed. But I'm thrilled with these pieces. They came from Pieces of the Ocean. So, it's been a while since I bought coral. I decided it was time for me to buy some coral. And I looked at SPS, but I decided that that's just not a good idea for me right now. So I got some Euphyllia, because you can't go wrong with Euphyllia. Somebody did ask a second ago. Yes, that is the Tunze Strong care magnet. I don't typically leave it in the tank, but it's been in there because I got this brown sand issue going on. I'm having to clean glass a little bit more often than I like. So I've just left it in the tank, but I really like it. Bright green long tentacle strain came from Green Star polyps. I've seen some really nice Green Star polyps. I'm not hating on it by any means. So I don't know what this is on a sand bed. It could be related to this new rock, which it was in the sump for like 3 weeks. But I did put some pond matrix into the tank to kind of help with this transition. But the brown stuff has been on the sand bed for a while. It didn't start with the radions. It was there with the Kessels. But of course I do have some bubble algae in here, and then some like red turf algae and some other issues going on. Thank you, Bubba. I appreciate it. Happy birthday. Next cup of coffee's on me. Thank you, thank you. Baker's yeast. Somebody left that in a comment of my video earlier. So, I don't know. I just blow the sand bed off and then kind of forget about it for a little bit. That was you? Okay. Yeah, I read the comment. I'm going to respond to that comment. I just haven't had time to respond to it as thoroughly as I want to. And I usually try to respond back something instead of just saying thank you or whatever. So, but yeah, I don't know what's on the sand bed. So, as somebody asked about the ATS earlier, I really don't have any plans of putting the algae turf scrubber back into this tank. I've actually got something else in the works that I'm working on, and it should be on its way now. So, you know, I'll just go ahead and plug my Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, then you won't know what that is. But if you are following me on Instagram, then you could probably figure out what is coming to kind of help out with this, hopefully this brown algae type situation that's going on in the tank. And in my defense, I've been really bad about not testing water, but is an ATS better than a refugium? That's probably going to be debated. I feel like if you are heavily stocked with fish and you like to feed very heavy, the ATS is perfect. But I only have like 6 fish in here, and I don't feed really that heavy. Matter of fact, I took the Neptune auto feeder off of the tank. So there's pros and cons. I mean, you know, obviously our refugium's going to be cheaper to set up and run. I mean, you can light a refugium for cheap, you know, 10, 15 bucks with a regular CFL bulb. So, but I made 10 gallons of water whenever I did the changing of the rocks, just because I knew there would be some displacement. And then there really wasn't much displacement, so I pretty much did like an 8-gallon water change. I lost about 2 gallons probably. And then 2 days later, I did another 10-gallon water change just because I was actually making water. So I figured while I was making it, Billy Pipes, thank you so much, man. Next Yoo-hoo is on me. You know what, since you did that, I may go get a Yoo-hoo and drink one for you, but it might not turn out very well. So I basically did a 20-gallon water change in 2 days, something like that. So, and 20 gallons is a lot for this tank. I mean, it's supposed to be a 54-gallon display, and I think an 11-gallon sump. I drained out 20 gallons whenever I pulled the rock work out. I wanted to pull water out so I can get the rock work out easier. And 20 gallons is half of the display. So, you know, we can roughly estimate that there's 40 gallons of water in the display. But that's why I'm using the Blue Bucket Redsea salt. Again, I haven't tested in a while, but when I did test, my alkalinity stayed at like 8-ish, something like that. So right in line with the Blue Bucket. But, you know, I just take a coral feeder. I take this guy right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. A little pipette, and I just blow the sand bed off. I would demonstrate for you right now, except I don't have the Gyre pumps on. And it's just gonna make a cloud in the tank, and I don't think that anybody wants to just look at a cloud right now. So I will do that shortly. But I'm thrilled with the pieces of the ocean pieces. That pedestal rock changed everything for me. I have multiple thoughts on the pedestal rock. In your opinion, what's the instant ocean salt any good? And then happy birthday, thank you. Instant ocean, I used it before. The only reason that I don't use it anymore is just because I originally got a bucket of Coral Pro salt for cheap locally. And after I saw how well it mixed up, I just stuck with it. Now the Coral Pro obviously has elevated levels, so I went to the Blue Bucket. But back to the pedestal rocks. It's definitely a game changer. I feel like it's gonna help out with the flow, obviously because it's pulled this section right here up off the sand bed, so now we can actually maybe get a full gyre effect except for this structure here. And this is gonna go away. This is all gonna go away. Thank you, John. Dave started a birthday cheer for me, December 1st. So, what's up, Tristan? So, I can't, it's gonna be hard to see. I showed it a second ago, but that's another pedestal rock in the sump. And it will eventually go over here on the left. I just need to give it some time to become full of life. But the pedestal rocks are, they're great. And I think I'm really gonna like, you know, it's gonna be kind of even and then have this slope here and then even again. So changing the rockscape was something that I knew I should have done a long time ago. And I didn't. And I finally told myself I'm taking care of it now. And I just did it. You know, after I drained 20 gallons of water out of the tank, I said, today's the day. I'm definitely taking care of this today. So, a couple of people have mentioned emerald crabs for the bubble algae. I don't object to that whatsoever. My problem is I have to order everything. So in order to make it efficient for me to order emerald crabs, I got to spend like $100 to get free shipping. And then I got to spend, you know, 15, 20 extra dollars to get Saturday delivery. So, you know, I need, what, 2 emerald crabs maybe? What are they, 12 bucks a piece? And it's going to end up costing me, you know, $80+ just to get emerald crabs. So no LFS. There's actually a store here in town that's a saltwater store, but they don't really deal with livestock. They kind of service tanks and set tanks up in businesses. There is a store that's like an hour from me. I don't know if they carry them or not. I don't really go over there all that often just because it ends up being like a whole day or half a day event. So what I normally do is I just wait and then suck it up and drop $100+ just whenever I need some stuff. Add a few tiger conches to the cleanup crew. Well, I could. So I have bristleworms. If anybody needs bristleworms, I have an abundance of bristleworms. I definitely wore rubber gloves, and I do wear rubber gloves now that anytime I stick my hands in the tank. And you're gonna hear different things on bristleworms. I think they're creepy, but I get it. I get that they're in the sand bed, and obviously if anything dies, they take care of it. I would definitely rather have a bristleworm versus a bobbit worm. What about Petco? I don't have a Petco around me. I have a Pet Smart, but I don't have a Petco around me. I mean, I'm not in a small city by any means. It's just, we know how it is with local fish stores. I mean, you know, they usually are open 7 days a week for a reason, and that's to cater to everyone. And it's hard. It's hard. So I get it. But yeah, I have an abundance of bristleworms, and I've slowly tapered the feedings down because everybody says that bristleworms will multiply the more you feed. Obviously, they're going to have more food. And did I sell the Rain 2 yet? Nope, I have not sold the Rain 2 yet. So, but the bristleworms don't bother me. I get it. They're actually serving a purpose in here, so more power to them. I just don't want a million of them. And again, if there's a bobbit worm in this tank, then I'm kicking the tank over. I'm done. I'm not dealing with that. I can't deal with an evil creature like that. It's basically like having your home like possessed by a demon. Get an arrow crab. I've looked at crabs before. I had a blue hermit in here, but I don't know where he went. Yeah, bobbits are bad. Where do they even come from, and how do they get to 2 feet long? You know, I just read a thread on Reef to Reef about a guy having one in his tank, and it was a beautiful tank. I mean, SPS colonies everywhere and had to tear the sucker down just to get it out of the tank. So yeah, my obstacle is I have to order everything. So I have to make it worth my while and worth my money to, yeah, I saw that video that Coral's done, and nope, no bobbits for me. But yeah, I have to order everything. So if I'm gonna spend the money, I'm gonna make it worth my while as far as ordering any type of livestock. You know, I'd originally had like 7 pieces of Euphilia in my cart whenever I ordered the 4 pieces from Pieces of the Ocean. And that's usually what I'll do, is I'll just add them to the cart and then kind of flip a coin on what I like the most. So apparently these little micro hammers are one of the new things right now. I'm not really sure. Live Aquaria came frozen. That's horrible. And Live Aquaria just changed their policy. Before, you could call them if you had any issues or whatever, but now they're actually requiring pictures, and I don't disagree with that. I mean, I'm sure they lost a lot of money with people abusing the system, and that's just how life goes. Yeah, Kentucky actually started playing basketball an hour and a half ago, but I haven't started watching it yet because my wife's not home. So we'll watch it whenever she gets home. I think the tank looks better with the Radions. I really like the Radions. Again, the video that I put out earlier, apparently I'm pretty heavy on the reds and greens. So I think I need to go out on Fusion and look for an AB Plus schedule. So I don't really know what an AB Plus schedule is. I simply looked on Fusion, found one that had a lot of likes on it, and I'm like, I'm gonna run that one there. But I really do like the Radions, and the fact that you could set up the outlet that changes the Radion. So obviously right now I have it set on my Radion View, otherwise it would be really blue. But I really like them. I've got no complaints. The way that they mounted on the 8020 was fantastic. I have no issues with that. And obviously my 8020, this part of the stand that goes down is 4 foot long, so I can actually pull it up. And that's what I did when I pulled the rock structure out of the tank. I didn't have to take the lights off at all. I just pulled the bar up, and it made it a lot easier. And I could have done that with the Kessels, except for obviously the Kessel cans, what, 4 or 5 inches. And peak is 100% all blue channels and 24% whites, red and green. Probably gonna need you to remind me of that. That, or I'll just give you control of my Apex and you can just set me up. So I did adjust the schedule a little bit, so whenever I get home in the evening, the tank's not super, super blue. Just for my viewing pleasure, no other reason. And somebody left a comment saying that they're growing SPS under Kessels just fine. And I've seen on Reef to Reef multiple beautiful tanks lit by Kessel only that have colonies in them. But, you know, truth be told, all I've ever seen was a Kessel light. My very first reef tank had a Kessel on it. That's all I've ever seen. I've never even seen Radions in person. So I made the jump. And I don't miss the shimmer at all. And as far as, I think I mentioned it earlier, as far as the color separation, you can't really see it in the tank, but you can see it on the floor every once in a while. Barely missed that comment about SPS or LPS. Can't believe you took out that Miracle Mud. I can't wait to put some in my sump. Did you have to let everything acclimate to the new lights? Everything in my tank is low in the tank, and I'm only running the Radions at 40% intensity, which may be still a little bit too high considering everything that's in the tank, but I didn't. I basically set the schedule that I have, I set the intensity, I copied it to the second light and just left it alone. So As far as any acclimation modes, I just let them have it. I mean, I felt like as long as you're not running the intensity at 100% to burn the corals, then they're gonna adapt. I mean, as long as you're not abusing them, then they're gonna adapt. And they've done quite well. Yeah, I have two 230s. There's a 230 right there and right there. And they are running on the LTC mode at 40% maximum intensity. So I had some issues with my controller, and luckily, thanks to Scurvy, I put a ticket in. He said, did you put a ticket in? I'm like, nope, actually I didn't. So I put a ticket in, they replaced the controller, and I love it. My core is running at like 71%, which that is the downfall of this tank. I mean, it's a 1/2 inch tube going into the tank, so obviously you're gonna lose quite a bit of flow there, but I am running a manifold. I probably could increase it a little bit, but I've just left it alone there. Do the Radions have an acclimation mode? I'm using the WXM module, so I don't know that for sure. It might very well have one if you use the Reef Link, and it may have one with WXM. I've just not looked into it. Again, I run them at 40%, and I feel like that's not completely overboard. And everything seems to be doing just fine. You know, I've had really good luck with these Recordias here. I mean, so much so that, you know, I may actually have to look at getting rid of some. No acclimation mode on the WXM. I didn't think so. I figured it was a kind of set it and forget it type of deal. 5 years down the road, yeah, of course, I've only been doing this for 3 years. I know that's kind of shocking because I don't really have much to show for it at this point, but it's crazy to me. You can run, that's what I thought, you could run that pelfrey, you know, slowly ramp itself up every day for about 2 weeks. Yeah, the lighting is, it's wild. I'm sure it's even more wild for the folks that have done this forever and started with, you know, metal halides and T5s or whatever. Carlos, thank you, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, no to the WXM. 45% feel like I'm whipping water through my sump. Alan, I did get some new corals. Again, it's gonna be hard. Carlos, thank you. Thank you for any and all the super chats. It's much, much appreciated. Obviously, this doesn't do them justice. The Radions are heavy on white, and plus we got the whole camera situation or whatever, but they're back there on the frag rack, and they're doing quite well. Reef Spy, the mountains are gone. Matter of fact, it's a work in progress, but the mountains are gone, and it may just be in my head, but I feel like the flow is substantially better with the situation that I got going on now. Now, obviously this piece was over here on this side, but I decided that I was gonna do kind of this situation. So these two pieces will come out at some point. And I did add some more pond matrix to the tank to kind of help out. So I think Reef Keeper said he switched to the Reef Link. Scurvy actually hooked me up with a really good deal on the WXM. I looked at the Reef Link, but I decided that I would go with the WXM. And I like it, you know. Quite honestly, I thought to myself, I'll just set the lights up with my computer, because I think that you can do that, and then I'll just leave it alone. But I was talking to Scurvy on Instagram, and he said, I got a WXM module I'm not using. This is what I'll sell it to you for. Sold. Send it to me. So it's really neat. If there's anybody new, I'm trying to get it to focus again. If there's anybody new in the hobby that's watching this, obviously there's a bunch of us on Instagram, and I've actually built some really good relationships with different folks, and I speak to them on Instagram on a regular basis. Covering the YouTube fees on all those super chats. Thank you, man. Thank you. So we just talk reef, and it's amazing. I mean, I'll be looking for a piece of equipment, somebody will have it, and they'll say, well, I'm not using it, you know, here you go, and vice versa. It goes both ways. So it's just a really good place to connect to people and talk to them. Blue Tide Acrylics is making that divider. So Blue Tide made my auto top-off container. And Daily Reefer, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really like the work that Blue Tide Acrylics has done for me as far as the ATO container. And he's a really nice guy, responds really quickly. So I basically sent him like a picture of the kit that they make in the United Kingdom, I guess, for the reefers. Because I'd looked at them and they're like $80-something, and then you got to pay like $40-something to get them shipped. So I said, hey, can you send this? These are kind of the dimensions I'm working with. And he's not built one before, so it's going to be interesting to get it in and see the fitment of the sump. I think it'll be fine. I have no issues there. But he's really easy to work with, no problems whatsoever. The WXM module is a Neptune module that plugs into your Apex and will control your radions. It'll control any of the MP10, 40s, 60s. It will not control any of the vector pumps. If you want to control the vector pumps, you have to go with a ReefLink. But you can control the any of the generation that I know of, 1, 2, 3, and 4 radions with the WXM and all of the pumps. Now, you have to consider that some of the Vortec pumps, I think only the MP10s will come with a non-wireless driver, and you can add by Toby. Who's Toby? You can add the wireless chip to even the old school Vortec pumps if it doesn't have it, but they have to be wireless in order for them to communicate with the WXM module. So that was something that I spoke to Amarazol TV on about the radions and WXM, and he was basically like, it's super simple, it's super easy to hook up, and sure enough, it was it. I actually went out on a limb because I'm running the Apex Classic, and I updated the WXM module over Wi-Fi. I figured I'm not actually updating the Apex brain, I'm just updating a module. Let's do it over Wi-Fi. And I was really nervous about it, but it worked out good. And as far as getting the lights set up on the WXM, it was seamless. And I've not had any, you know, knock on wood, I've not had any connectivity issues whatsoever. You're right, Jerry. They from what I've seen, the MP60s and 40s only come with a wireless driver. You can get the MP10s wireless or non-wireless, I believe. Like you said, you save like $50. So if you just have a nano tank and you want to put a MP10 on there, you can save some money and not get the wireless version. But it's nice. I actually had an MP10 on this tank at one point and ran it on a WXM module just because I wanted to just play with the Apex interface, and I really liked it. And you know, quite honestly, I wouldn't mind to have Vortec pump here and here, but I really like the Gyre pumps. And the only issue that I have right now is the fact that my kids have kind of grabbed the dry side, the magnet off the Gyre pumps a couple times. And that's the only reason that I thought about the back wall here. But, you know, for now it'll be okay. But that's what I like about the Gyre pumps, is they can go up so high As far as cleaning the gyre pumps, I've never had any issues. But quite honestly, I've only taken them apart maybe once. Whenever they whenever they turn purple, I take them out and I run them in a bucket of water and vinegar, and then I just brush them off. All right, man, see ya. Go have fun in your fish shack. I'm jealous of that, man. Have a good weekend. So yeah, I mean, I've not had any issues with the gyre pumps. I mean, quite honestly, these were kind of loud whenever I first got them, but they quietened down pretty quickly for me. And not only that, but it's very rarely ever quiet in here. I mean, this is my living room and this is where all the traffic goes, so they don't bother me none, but I like them. I probably need to go fill up a bucket with water and put a heater in. It's the only thing I don't like about this time of year whenever it's cold, because I keep my roadie water in the garage. And in the summer, I don't have to do anything. I put it in a bucket, add salt to it, it's already warm. But in the winter, I gotta preheat it just because it takes a little while to heat up 10 gallons and then mix up my salt. The Apex controller for the gyre pumps is half the cost of the gyre pump. I hate that as well, because you actually have to have the power supply, and then you got to buy an ice cap module for each one. So it makes it really difficult to go that route. I would love to have the gyre pumps interface with the Apex, but it's just not cost effective for me to buy 2 of the ice cap modules, a second power supply. So I just use the OEM controller for them. Yeah, that is one thing. Whenever they get dirty, they do lose some of their intensity. So I'm probably at a point now where I should really take them apart and clean them. But I kind of judge it by the coralline algae that's growing on them. And it's crazy. The coralline algae will cover them in no time. I mean, my overflow box has coralline algae in it, and some of the back wall, and obviously some of the rocks here, but the gyre pumps, the plastic on them just gets covered pretty quickly. But it's something that vinegar takes care of. You can do a lot with the gyre controllers, and my only complaint was the fact that the display on mine had pretty much gone out. So it made it really difficult to even change any settings. And again, it was Scurvy and I were having a side conversation about it, and he had just mentioned, did I even attempt to put a ticket in with CoralView? And I said, nope. So that's what I did. I stopped what I was doing. I put a ticket in with them. I actually sent them some pictures of my display. And what's up, Marine Tank Journey? They sent me another controller. I love the gyre pumps. I got them because of your videos. I really like the gyre pumps. I don't regret that at all. I mean, I started this tank with an MP40, and then I decided that's probably not the direction that is best for me. But I like the Vortec pumps. They're just, you know, I sold that one MP40, and then it bought a full gyre with a controller and almost a whole nother pump. So, you know, it was just cost effective to go the direction that I went. Let's see. CoralView is normally pretty good with their support. It was hit or miss with me. I did run a Vario 6 on this tank whenever I set it up, and I had no issues with that pump, so I didn't have to reach out for support. I did put a ticket in for, I forget what it was, and basically they asked if I'd updated the firmware on the controller. and you know, in hindsight, that's the correct troubleshooting resolution, is to obviously make sure that the software is updated. But I felt like that conversation kind of fell off pretty quickly after I said I'd updated the firmware. This was a different issue than my controller going out, the display on it. But anyway, they restored my faith for sure by replacing that controller, because I really didn't think they would. I mean, my units, it's definitely out of warranty, but I did send them the serial number. I sent them the invoice that I had from Bulk Reef Supply. I made sure that I had all the documentation before I even initiated a conversation with them, because I knew they were going to ask for it. Going with the MP40s, it's not a bad, MP40s are good pumps. I'd really like to try out the Tunze pumps personally, but I just have no reason to swap them out. And again, the Tunze pumps that I would probably want are like 180 bucks. And as far as really needing them, I don't. And then, you know, obviously saving money there. But how's that Fuge light working for you? Speaking of Tristan, I bought his H80 Fuge light. So how are the corals doing with the new lights? Did you do an acclimation? I actually didn't. I'm only running the Radions at 40% and they're all low in the tank. I'm about 200 par in the middle of the tank. That's without any flow. So obviously you turn the pumps on and it's you know, par readings are definitely up and down. But they're doing well. No complaints. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with any of the Tunze equipment, to be honest with you. I mean, I've been running the osmolator for 2 years now, and it's flawless. Scape is looking way better. Thank you very much. I really enjoy it. I was very frustrated with the last layout, that's for sure. But I really do like this current situation. I only have a RW4. Scurvy, thanks for the super chat. Go get something done on that brand new tank of yours and put a video out on YouTube, because everybody needs to see what two Orphic Atlantic V4s look like on a 100-gallon tank. Disappointed with the new Kessel's par. I don't know. I haven't put much thought into the new Kessel's par readings. I like Kessel's. I really like Kessel's. I wanted an AP700 for a long time. I bought a couple of them. They never did really work out for me. Feelings on the Kessel H80 for Refugium Light. I can't give any opinions just yet. I bought it a couple weeks ago. It's in a box in my garage. I'm not quite to that point just yet. I did turn it on, and it looks like a grow light. Now, as far as performance, hopefully we'll find out soon. So I've never really had a Refugium. I just like to try one out. So that's my plan, and I've never had any pods in the tank. So I'm thinking to myself, I can start a Refugium, I can put some pods in the tank, and that'll be another adventure for me that I've never gone down. So they intentionally keep them down so that they don't kill coral. I'm a Kessel fan, so running my H80 at 90% intensity and color spectrum of 40%. Are you controlling that with the Apex? So I will say that with the H80, it does have the 0 to 10 volt input and output. And just because I have the cable already, whenever I install it, I'll probably control it through the Apex. You know, obviously I could control it with the dials, but since I have the cable already, I see no reason not to run it off of the Apex. Yeah, right side ledge looking good. Thank you very much. I'm thrilled with it. Yes, I'm definitely thrilled with the new layout of the tank. I just have to get this brown sand bed issue resolved. I thought I was going to have to put more sand in here, and I have a bucket. Philip just sent me an email with a AB plus setting, so thank you very much. Going to check that out as soon as I get done here. I thought I was going to have more sand, and I have a 5-gallon bucket with sand in it. It's about half full of sand, but I didn't have to put any more sand in here, which I don't have a lot of sand in here to begin with. So, yeah, Philip, I saw the email. I'm going to check it out definitely whenever I get done here and get my lights adjusted appropriately. Rico, thank you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks for stopping by. I gotta say that you all have been very, very generous, and it is much appreciated. Thank you all, even for stopping in, just thank you. So yeah, the rock situation I should have taken care of a long time ago. And quite honestly, the only reason that I didn't touch the rock work is because it was one structure. And I just cringed every time I thought about pulling it out of the tank, because this is what you would call the low iron glass, and anything that touches it will scratch it. And I was just super nervous about pulling that whole entire rock structure out and scratching the glass. Now I have some scratches on the glass already. There's some internally and there's some externally from my kids. And you know, the ones inside are my fault, and the ones outside, you know, so be it. They're kids, that's what they're gonna do. I mean, it's just the way that it is. But I was terrified to pull it out. But it worked out pretty good. I just took my time and put a lot of towels on the ground, and then I busted it up with a hammer so that I could actually put some of that rock work back into the tank. Now, again, this section here is temporary, so that will be resolved very, very soon. So I think that about wraps it up. Thank you all for stopping in. I do appreciate it. Hope you have a great day. I'm going to do a little bit of work on the tank. I'm going to relax a little bit, hang out with the kids. It's raining outside, so we have a little jumpy house. What's up, Mass Aquariums? We have one of the little blow-up jumpy houses that fits in the garage. When they wake up from their naps, I may treat them to the jumper in the garage so that can wear them out for the rest of the evening. But yes, I appreciate everybody stopping by. I hope you have a great weekend. It is December 1st. It's hard to believe that it's December already and Christmas is coming up quick, which I've had my tree up for a couple weeks now. You know, Christmas started early here. So, all right, folks. DIY aquarium controller coming up. True Faller knows how to get them tired. Good man. If I lived where you lived, Mass, I would have a tree house just like you, but I would have, if you don't already, a zip line for them. That sounds dangerous. Actually, now that I said that, that's probably not the best advice that I could ever give anybody. I'll stick to my little bouncy house. All right, folks. Have a good weekend. I'll see you around the internets.